Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to lesson number 6, Kabbalah for Beginners, Frequently Asked Questions. Okay, now we have some questions on the comments on YouTube on lesson 5. Let's see. Okay, so Liv is asking, would you recommend some books for beginners? I have read Kabbalah for Beginners, Attaining the World Beyond, and some more. Are there any other books would you recommend for a beginner? Well, yes, there are a few. So, for example, I don't know, you didn't write if you read them, but Kabbalah Revealed, A Guide to a More Peaceful Life. It's a very good book, I know, got a lot of good reviews. Also, From Chaos to Harmony, Awakening to Kabbalah, Basic Concept in Kabbalah, and A Guide to Hidden Wisdom of Kabbalah. So these are some good books. You can find them on kabbalahbooks.info. Besides that, there are of course the more advanced texts of Bala Sulam and Rabash, but those I recommend more to read while you're studying on Kabyu or something like that. So if you join the link in the description to Kabyu, to the online course, then you'll get acquainted with much more advanced texts, but that I really recommend doing with a teacher as part of a course. Okay, we have some questions from Dima, which has the nickname Funny Games. So Dima is asking more questions. There's a video uploaded just now here in Kabbalah Info, What is Karma? That Dr. Michael Lightman answers a question that arises. How do I know if my desire is corrected? Is it only through a group? Well, I don't really know the specific video, but the basic answer to know if your desire is corrected is, do you reveal a phenomenon that is called the creator inside of your vessel? Then it means that it's corrected, that you're revealing something of the integral reality that we are all part of. Number 2, how do I know who I can trust? How to spot a deceiver. A deceiver will use the truth to get your trust and then take you to where he wants you to. This is really hard. If he's a good deceiver, you can't really spot it. I don't know. I would just stick with what Kabbalists write. If you're referring to the spiritual path, I guess you don't asking about corporal life. So in the spiritual path, just go with Kabbalist, what Kabbalists write, and in the end you need to judge in your heart, because you don't have all the facts. It sometimes can take years until you understand the method in whole, and you'll be capable of implementing that. So you just need to go with your heart and study what you feel is right, and don't be so afraid to be disappointed. You'll get failures, you'll be disappointed, and that's part of life, and it also comes from the Creator, and we'll learn from that, and this is part of our advancement. Just like there can be no day without night, and sweetness without bitter. So I wouldn't get too excited about that or waste too much energies. I would focus my efforts on following Kabbalist advices. About my previous questions of 613 commandments. Oh, it was you that asked that. I need an example to understand. You said that it has nothing to do with corporal world, something that triggers me. One of the commandments. A man must not have sexual relations with a man. I guess it means that people shouldn't be gay. I agree with this statement, but where did I go wrong? What I haven't understand? Why people say that it doesn't matter? Is it a problem with me? I don't know. Like Kabbalah doesn't refer to how we live our life in corporality and what exactly do you do in your bedroom, but and of course that all preferences were giving by the Creator, and it really has nothing to do with the spiritual development. So I will just refer to the part that talks about the commandment itself. So we talked about last time that all the commandments are actions that you do in your soul, the ingredients in the general soul that you need to correct. In spirituality, you'll see later on as you study that a male is referred to as the force of bestowal, and a female is the force of reception, like what we call a kli and the light. So in Hebrew it also comes from gever, it comes from idgabrut, to overcome. So this is the male, because bestow is about overcoming, is against the will to receive. And nukva comes from the word in Hebrew nekev, which means a deficiency or a hole. So this is the more internal meaning of the words. And in this specific verse, for example, or phrase or quote, it means coupling, or what you call a sexual relationship, but it actually means coupling. It means the connection between two spiritual objects, or it means the connection with the Creator in the end, of the creature. So you cannot take two forces of bestow and create the right connection between them, or two forces of reception and make the right connection between them, because it's like a plus and a minus. You can only bestow if there is a deficiency. That's why it refers to usually as a male and a female having the complete connection between them. Okay, so it is called that ish veisha shechina benehem, meaning that a male and a female and the divinity between them. But again, it's better to describe it and interpret that inside one person, meaning inside of you. Okay, and it's and again, it's true to all other commandments. So when you read a commandment and you immediately try to picture it in a proper way, the only advice I can give you is to try to say to yourself, maybe I don't understand it completely. Maybe there is something into it more than what meets the eyes. Okay, I hope that answers it. Okay, so that was about previous questions. Let's see if by now we have more questions of today. Ingrid is asking, how to clarify what is my spiritual path? How can you clarify that? Like, how can a baby know how it needs to grow up? It cannot. The only thing you can do, and here I would recommend reading the article Freedom or Free Choice. I don't remember how they translate it to English. It's Acherut, it's called, by Baal Sulam. And then he says that the only work you can do is choosing the right environment, and then it's like a seed planted in the best soil and ground and conditions, and then you'll develop, and as you develop, you'll understand what is best for you. John is asking, really, Kabbalah teaches homosexuality is wrong? I didn't say that. I don't know how you got that. Maybe you referred to Dima's questions about, he was asking about the Bible as a holy book and things that we talked about last time. Ahmed is asking, does rituals help in a spiritual way, mitzvot? It's really personal. So I know people that Orthodox lifestyle, I would call it like this, living in traditions, really help them organize their life and find the time for spiritual development, and also to connect the action they do with their hands and bodies and mouth to what it might refer to in internality and the true meaning of that. There are people that it really, how do you say, reject in a negative way, like Let me find Google Translate. Yeah, not put off maybe, or repel. Yeah, this is, so there are people that it actually repels them, all the externality and doing things with their hands and mouth without understanding why they do that. So it's really personal. I wouldn't determine it one way or another. I would just recommend, focus on the internality, and then you'll see what's best for you. I guess that's it about questions, yes? Okay. So we're on page 168 on Kabbalah for beginners, and the title is Studying Kabbalah. Okay. So, does studying Kabbalah mean I must retire from daily life? There is no requirement to fast or to mortify yourself. One does not have to live everyday life or abandon family duties, nor does one float in the air or practice breathing exercise in order to attain tranquility. Quite the contrary, students build their egos and turn them into vessels that help them attain their sublime goal, to sense the Creator. To study Kabbalah and understand how the upper world operates, one must be at the center of that world and act from within it. Therefore, one must continue doing all his or her mundane duties. I hope you pronounce it like that. Let's check. This is an opportunity to check how to pronounce something.
Mundane.
Mundane. Oh, I was wrong. Mundane. Okay. Good, I checked. Okay, mundane. Therefore, one must continue doing all his or her mundane duties. The attainment of the spiritual reality must be in one's corporal senses and closely connected with one's normal life. Where and how is freedom of choice expressed? When exactly does one choose, and what should one choose? The choices that we have during our lives are narrowed down to our discovery of what compels us to study Kabbalah. Besides the study of Kabbalah, all other pursuits are considered animate, since they are transitory and expire when the physical body dies. As human beings, we have freedom of choice. Only in our decision to study Kabbalah, there are three reasons that compel us to study Kabbalah. 1. Reward and punishment in this world, reward and punishment in the next world, bestowed upon the Creator when we are driven by the desire to resemble Creator's attribute of bestow. We study Kabbalah as a means to attain the ultimate altruistic goal, to bestow upon Him who created us. Okay, but it doesn't always start like that. Usually a person just wants to have better life in this world, that his children will have better life, that his family, that the humanity will have better love, less suffering on a corporal level. Then he starts to think maybe about the next world, how imagine that in spirituality, to attain something, to have better success in spirituality, not to suffer. And then you have even more than that, when a person already rises above their ego. For these three reasons, spirituality is higher than us. We cannot convince our bodies to give to the Creator, because our bodies immediately retaliate with the question, what will I get out of it? Oh, retaliate. By its very nature, the body, which in Kabbalah is defined as the will to receive, cannot understand bestow. Thus, we have no choice but to ask the Creator to give us the desire and the will to bestow, to act and to think regardless of if and how this will benefit us. If we focus all our thoughts and desires on attaining that trait, the Creator will replace our corporal nature with a spiritual one. Then, in contrast to when we could not understand the possibility of working for others, now we cannot understand not working for the Creator. Okay, I want to maybe elaborate more about this free choice, because it seems a bit shallow just to say that the only free choice is in spirituality. I want to explain more why is that. If we are under the will to receive, meaning that we are operated by the will to receive, because in the end we are just points in a network of forces, okay? So if the force that control us is the will to receive, and by default it always wants more pleasure and to and to run away from pain or deficiency or lack, then there is no free choice, meaning that I would always go on the greater reward or the lesser deficiency or the lesser lack. And what we call in our world free choice is actually not knowing, meaning ignorance. Okay, so if, for example, I don't know if I should marry Sheila or I should marry Katie. So I have this huge decision to make, okay? Which one should I marry? And if I would know that, let's say with Sheila, I would suffer like a dog, every day would be a nightmare. After the first year of hormones, after that it's only downhill. She would make my life into a living hell, and then she would leave me and take half of my property. And if I would know that marrying what was her name? Katie, for example, it would be a huge paradise. Every day that passes, the relationship would get deeper. We would get to know one another. After the hormones will go, it will be intense work in building this relationship above all the challenges that life brings us. And she would admire me every day, and I would appreciate her, and I don't know what, and we'll bring kids, and it will be fun, and then we'll be grandparents, and walk hand in hand to the sunset, or to the end of our lives, blah blah blah. Then obviously there won't be any free choice. Okay, so it's like this balance that, of course, that I would go with. What's her name? I forgot. With Katie, okay? And that's pretty obvious, okay? And the same goes for everything in life. What to study, where should I go to the next vacation, what should I do today, okay? So it's always a calculation that if I had all of the information, immediately I would choose the best option. So why do we say that in spirituality we have free choice? Because actually in spirituality we need to work with bestow, and bestow is something that is against the will to receive. So what happens is that I have a certain choice that my will to receive wants, meaning I want it egoistically. I believe according to all the information I have in my heart, what I feel in my brain, what I understand, that this is the best choice. And against that, I have a state that Kabbalists talk about, that because it's my next step, x plus 1 and not x, meaning me in a more similar state to the Creator, something that is farther away than my will to receive, more into bestow, into connection with others, then I don't see it as something so good. It's very similar to education, that you have a child, and the child now wants, I don't know, the candy, he wants now to watch TV 20 hours a day, or whatever. And as a grown-up, you need to make him want something higher that will happen to develop. And then usually we either use sanctions, okay, and this is why the Creator always or makes sure that we won't lack emptiness or disappointments or failures in our egoistic pursuit until we understand that something is bad with the mechanism, and maybe what I always imagined myself to be good is not so good, and maybe what I thought that I know best I don't know so good, and maybe what I thought that I'm such a rational human being that is higher than nature, that I can know, that I know, that I understand, that I'm so modern, that I'm so liberal, that I'm so advanced, maybe I'm not so okay? So this is like, so this the Creator takes care of, and this is called the path of suffering. The other option is that if I have a group, or if I have an environment or society that tells me how good it is to be similar to the Creator, and this society advertise it, and then in my will to receive, suddenly this becomes also good. And once it becomes better, then again immediately I go for the better option. But until it comes better, meaning it starts, let's say, from here, this process that in the end I will choose what the spiritual society tells me that adhesion with the Creator is better than, or is greater than some kind of corporal fulfillment, egoistic fulfillment, this is actually my free choice. That's why we say that the only free choice is in the environment. But once I choose the environment, and choosing the environment doesn't mean changing the environment all the time. It can be the same environment, but I choose it, meaning that I want to receive from it, I want to serve it, I want to invest in that so it becomes more important to me. I want to prefer that over my over my criticism and my rejection and everything, and this is called free choice. So actually all the spiritual work we do in a group or in a society is called free choice. But once we, but in the end it's also calculation. So we just need to tip the balance so it will go into the right direction. So it won't. So we won't need to receive all this suffering from the Creator to do so. Because what happens with suffering is that I'm just disappointed from what my ego pursued it, and then I am again in a void. I didn't build a society that will help me find a clear way, or be like a, how do you call it, like, wow, I forgot the word, like, you know, that you have this tower with light, like a lighthouse, right? It's in English. I think it's a lighthouse. Light tower. Okay. So, so this, lighthouse. No, actually it's a lighthouse. Light tower was the wrong one. Yeah, I was, or beacon. Beacon is nice. So if I don't build this society, I don't have this beacon, I don't have this lighthouse that allows me in the dark moments to understand where should I go to. And this is how we develop to the Creator, and this is true in every degree, because all the time the ego grows. Because otherwise you can say, okay, so what's the difference? You know, you have many societies, so I'm going to Weight Watchers, I'm going to some religion, I'm going to some politics or to some business oriented groups, and then I go under that and I became a fanatic at that, and I run and I do what they tell me, and that's how humanity operates. The difference here is that the ego always grows. So every time you are rejected from society, and you need to re-choose society, and then the ego grows, and that's how you stay a free human being. It's not easy. Sometimes it's easier just to be some kind of fanatic or go with something for the rest of your life until the next crisis. But actually that's how you develop. This is walking in two legs and moving forward first in order to resemble the Creator. Okay, let's see if we have more questions so far. Okay. Many people say hello. Ahmed is asking how to correct feeling of shame in Kabbalah perspective. What you feel now with shame is egoistic shame. It's shame of being caught, it's shame in comparison to your pride. What we talk about shame in spirituality is that you reveal that you're opposite from the Creator. I wouldn't worry yourself with that. Just, give less importance to what you feel and think in the moment, and invest more in practicing, in studying, in working in the right environment. It is just like children, you know. So they fall and they cry like crazy, like the end of the world, that their life has ended or something. And then a moment afterward, they keep going, okay? So their nature compels them. We need to do it on our own. Okay, more questions? No. Okay, so let's continue. When I try to read the book of Zohar, I find it very difficult to understand. Is it just me, or is it truly a very difficult book to grasp? The book of Zohar is a very important Kabbalistic book, but it is written in a concealed way, making it impossible to understand until a person is in the spiritual world. Because of that, it is suggested that we do not begin to study straight from the book of Zohar. Instead, there are introductions and books by Baal Sulam that teach us how to understand what is written in the Zohar. The book of Zohar is not a book through which one can attain spirituality. It was written for those who have already attained it. To understand it properly, we first need to study several other texts such as Preface to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, Introduction to the Book of Zohar, Preface to the Book of Zohar, and Forward to the Book of Zohar. Without first acquiring clear and correct knowledge through those introductions, the book will remain completely abstruse. What? To us. Like, okay, how do you pronounce that?
Abstruse.
Abstruse. Cool.
Abstruse.
New word. Abstruse. Okay, so the book will remain completely abstruse to us. Okay, so the book of Zohar is not for beginners, truly. It's when a person understands more what is the light that reforms him and how to study, not in an intellectual way, but in a way of drawing the light that reforms. Might take a while, so don't start with that. Lately, there have begun to appear various study groups for Kabbalah. It is worthwhile to check them out. It is always worthwhile to explore at least once who studies and how they study Kabbalah. It will also help you get to know yourself. Therefore, I advise you to check things out and decide if it will be right for you. In the end, remember, it's your life, it's your decisions. Nobody will make the life for you. The hardest decisions are yours to take. So, you should do that. Is there a difference in how men and women study Kabbalah? Both men and women must develop spirituality, and the only difference between them lies in the method. The beginning of the learning process is the same. That is why our introductory courses featured the same method for men and for women. Later on, if a person goes deeper into the study of the actual Kabbalah, the difference in the method becomes apparent. Men and women will begin to sense the world differently, because men and women are indeed two different worlds and have a different perception of creation. Okay, so this is also true for different men and for different women. Everyone is different, but men and women as a general later on develop themselves mainly in the practical way of participating in activities that help them develop spirituality into spirituality. They find different manifestations or different ways to advance forward. But again, that's later on, and the person will see what's best for them. Okay, I think that's it for now. No, it's like we're already close to wrapping it up. Let's see if we have questions for closure. So, no questions on Facebook. Okay. Okay, so somebody's giving advice, but there are no real questions there. Okay, so good. Everything is clear. Again, if you want to study more, you have in the links in the description box. You have the PDF for the book, so you can go over it. You have the complete course on YouTube, on the channel, where you find more materials for beginners. You also have the free online Kabbalah course that you can join on KabU, which is like the beginning of a very methodical, in-depth study course of Kabbalah. So that's also recommended. Okay, taking last question from Ahmed. Does committing a sins cause damage to spirituality? You need to interpret what sins are. Like, if you say that everything comes from the Creator, then all your thoughts and actions also come. So what is a sin? So a sin in Kabbalah is actually acting egoistically, which means that we are all in sin until we correct ourselves, and we cannot run away from that. So it means that every person starts from sins, or starts from being what we call evil, or what's the opposite of righteous? Like, so we all start from the negative state and move forward from that. Okay, that's it. So have a nice day or night, and next time we meet, as usual, it's, if today is Monday, then next time is Thursday morning Israel time, or Wednesday evening New York time. Bye bye for now, and take care. You can always ask questions in YouTube on the video after it's uploaded, and then I'll relate to that in the next lesson.